Kevin Stefanski might still hold the headset, but Cam Newton made it clear the play calling isn't the only thing broken in Cleveland. From incoherent offensive schemes to lackluster sideline leadership, Stefanski's handling of this roster, particularly as young quarterback, has drawn sharp criticism. For Newton, this isn't about XS and OS. It's about a culture of confusion, where even talent like Shedeur Sanders can't escape the downward pull. When coaching fails to support, teach, or even protect a rookie from internal chaos, the damage runs.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
And Newton's words serve as a warning, not just an opinion. He's seen how mismanagement can derail promising careers. Sanders isn't crumbling. He's enduring. But that endurance has limits. And if the Browns don't act fast, they'll waste another franchise-caliber player. Newton's plea is as much about Cleveland's future as it is about its present dysfunction. Evolve the system, elevate the standards, or watch it all collapse from within. Cam Newton isn't known for staying quiet. And this time, he's come out swinging hard against the Cleveland Browns. In a move that caught just about everyone off guard, Newton flat-out demanded that rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders leave Cleveland. Not in a year. Not when his contract's up. Right? And why? Because of a clash with Jeudy that symbolized everything wrong with the Browns organization. The fight may have been the spark, but what Newton is pointing to is a fire that's been burning beneath the surface for a long time. Toxic locker room dynamics, bad leadership, coaching failures, and a system that's all but designed to destroy young quarterbacks before they get a chance to grow. Newton made it clear this isn't about Shedeur being the problem. It's about what's being built around him. Or, more accurately, what's not being. The Browns are yet again in a tailspin, and the rookie quarterback who should be the future is instead being asked to survive dysfunction, not thrive in development. Cam's message was blunt. Shedeur is already showing more maturity, poise, and control than many of the veterans around him. And if Cleveland can't see that, they don't deserve it. This whole thing blew up after Jeudy reportedly got into it with other members of the team. Yet another sign that this locker room isn't functioning. Jeudy's supposed to be a leader, a stabilizer. But instead, Newton argues he's become a source of chaos, a distraction. And that distraction is directly impacting the development of a quarterback who's already under enormous pressure. Cam didn't hold back. He tore into the coaching staff, calling out Kevin Stefanski for confusing game plans, lack of adaptability, and a total failure to create a structure that supports young talent. The Browns' offense has no identity. The play calling doesn't suit Shedeur's strengths. And the team chemistry? Non-existent. So how is a rookie quarterback supposed to grow in that environment? He's not. That's the whole point. Newton's criticism was rooted in a very specific NFL truth. Quarterbacks don't succeed on talent alone. They need the right coaching. They need veteran leadership. They need consistency. Without that, even the most gifted player is going to struggle. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is showing more discipline and professionalism than some guys who've been in the league for years. That should be a good thing. That should be the story. But instead, Newton sees the narrative turning, starting to shift blame onto Shedeur for things that are clearly not his. It's not his fault the coaching is a mess. It's not his fault the veterans are creating drama. It's not his fault the offensive line can't protect him. And it's definitely not his fault the Browns continue to cycle through quarterbacks without ever fixing the actual problem, themselves. Newton's whole point is this. Shedeur is being asked to succeed in a system that's setting him up to fail. And that's not just bad for his development. That's dangerous for his career. He emphasized that Shedeur isn't cracking under pressure. He's protecting the football. He's staying composed. He's doing what good quarterbacks are supposed to do, even while the people around him are falling apart. That's rare. That's valuable. And Cleveland is wasting it. The bigger issue here is about accountability. Cam Newton is asking a question that Browns fans, and frankly most of the NFL, have been asking for years. When is this franchise going to stop pointing fingers and start taking responsibility? Every time something goes wrong, the answer is the same. Change the quarterback. Change the play caller. Blame the players. Blame the culture. But the leadership stays the same. The habits stay the same. And the results stay the same. And now Shedeur Sanders is in the crosshairs. A rookie quarterback, doing everything right, is already being pulled into the same chaos that swallowed so many others before him. That's what Cam is warning against. Not just for Sanders' sake, but for the bigger picture, the way the NFL handles its young quarterbacks. Newton's argument isn't just emotional, it's philosophical. He's saying that we can't keep treating quarterbacks like plug-and-play assets. Development takes structure. It takes support. It takes patience. And when a rookie walks into a situation that doesn't offer any of those things, the outcome is predictable. They fail, and we blame them for it. But Shedeur isn't failing. He's surviving. He's staying focused. He's executing with calm. And yet, there are people already questioning whether he's a right fit, whether he's living up to the hype. Newton's response? Look around. He's doing more than enough. It's everyone else who's coming up short. There's also a brutal honesty in the way Newton talks about the culture in Cleveland. He's not accusing one player or one coach. He's calling out the entire structure. He's saying that until the Browns deal with their internal issues, until the veterans stop acting like rookies, and the coaching staff starts coaching with purpose, no quarterback is going to thrive there. Not Shedeur. Not anyone. And that's why Cam's demand isn't just a soundbite. It's a red flag. It's a last-ditch effort to keep a promising player from becoming the next name in a long line of wasted potential. Because we've seen it before. Cleveland brings in a young QB. The city gets excited, the team crumbles, and suddenly it's the player's fault. That cycle is played out so many times that it's hard to believe anyone even buys into it anymore. Cam doesn't, and that's why he's going all in. His demand isn't about drama. It's about damage prevention. It's about stopping the cycle before it ruins another career. And it's not like he's asking for a miracle. He's asking for a team to support its rookie quarterback, to build a real plan around him, to give him the tools and time he needs to grow. That's not unreasonable. That's the bare minimum. But right now, Cleveland isn't offering that. They're offering dysfunction, infighting, and an offensive scheme that doesn't know what it wants to be. And Newton knows exactly where that leads. So he's calling it out, loudly, publicly, because if no one else is going to defend Shedeur Sanders, Cam Newton is drawing a line in the sand. Either Cleveland steps up and does right by their quarterback, or Shedeur needs to walk away. Because what's being asked of him right now isn't fair, and it's not sustainable. There's still time. The Browns could fix this. They could rein in the chaos, realign the locker room, and give Shedeur a real shot. But based on their track record, Newton isn't optimistic. So what happens next? That's up to Cleveland. But one thing is crystal clear. If they keep down this path, they're not just risking a few more losses. They're risking the future of a player who's already shown he's what it takes. If he's put in the right position. Let's hear what you think. Is Cam Newton right to demand Shedeur Sanders' exit from Cleveland? Is this dysfunction going to swallow another young quarterback? Drop your thoughts below. Hit like if you're tired of watching the same mistakes ruin new talent. And make sure you're subscribed. Because if the situation keeps unraveling, we'll be right here breaking it. Cam Newton's takedown of the Cleveland Browns didn't just rattle NFL headlines. It put the entire franchise under a microscope. And at the center of it all, Shedeur Sanders. A rookie quarterback thrust into a storm he didn't create, surrounded by veterans causing chaos, and guided by coaches who, frankly, seem lost. Cam's now infamous demand, get Shedeur out of Cleveland, wasn't just about one fight with Jeudy. That was the symptom. The bigger issue? A franchise culture that can't seem to get out of its own way, no matter how much talent walks through the door. Let's break it down again. Jeudy didn't just have a heated moment. His behavior, according to Newton, is part of a larger locker room trend. One where veterans aren't stepping up as leaders, but instead are fueling distractions. And in a young quarterback's first season, that's the worst case. Newton made it clear. Sanders isn't struggling because he's not good enough. He's struggling because Cleveland isn't built to develop quarterbacks. It's built to blame them. And that's what Cam is trying to stop, before Shedeur becomes another cautionary tale in the Browns' long history of QB disasters. Let's not forget, Cam knows this game. He knows what it's like to walk into a franchise with high expectations and limited support. He's lived through bad offensive lines, inconsistent coaching, and pressure from fans and media who expect greatness overnight. So when he looks at Shedeur, he doesn't just see a rookie. He sees a version of himself. And he's not about to watch another young star get buried by the same system. Because that's exactly what's happening. Cleveland's coaching staff, led by Kevin Stefanski, has failed to craft a system that plays to Sanders' strengths. Newton's words were sharp. Poor game plans, confusing play calls, and a total lack of offensive identity. When your rookie quarterback is more composed than your head coach, that's a red flag. A big, and that's not even the full picture. The offensive line hasn't held up. The running game is inconsistent. And the receivers, outside of creating headlines, they've done little to help move the chains. Sanders is being asked to do too much, too soon, with too little. And yet, he's showing maturity under pressure that most rookies don't possess. That's what's so frustrating. Cam's frustration isn't about bad numbers or a few rough games. It's about the fact that despite all of this, Shedeur is still holding it together, still protecting the football, still stepping into the pocket and trying to make the right read while the world falls apart around him. And that is what should scare Cleveland, because if this is how Sanders performs under duress, just imagine what he could do with a competent system. But that's the thing, he's not getting one. And if Newton's right, he won't anytime soon. Not unless something drastic changes. Newton's call-out wasn't just for the Browns. It was a message to the league. Stop setting up rookies to fail. Stop blaming the youngest guy in the room when the adults in charge won't take responsibility. Newton is holding the mirror up to a franchise that refuses to self-correct. And in the process, risks ruining yet another potential. And let's talk about Shedeur for a second. Because the fact that he hasn't lashed out, hasn't gone off script, hasn't started calling out teammates in the press, that says everything you need to know about him. He's not a problem. He's a professional. In fact, Newton pointed out that Sanders is doing exactly what coaches dream of in a rookie. He's patient. He's learning. He's listening. And above all else, he's not panicking. Even with a broken system around him, he's staying poised. That's leadership. But leadership only gets you so far when the system is fundamentally broken. Cleveland has a track record here, and it's not good. Quarterback after quarterback has come through the door, sold as a new savior, and been shown the exit within a few seasons. Not because they weren't good enough, but because the Browns have never built the infrastructure to actually support long-term growth. Newton's point? Don't let Shedeur be the next name on that list. Because if the Browns don't fix their culture, if they don't get serious about coaching, structure, and accountability, then it doesn't matter how talented Sanders is. He'll either flame out or worse, get blamed for the mess and never get a second chance to prove what he can really do. That's the NFL reality. The league doesn't care who's at fault. If you don't succeed early, you're often replaced before you ever get a chance to grow. Newton's trying to stop that from happening again. And it's not like this is some emotional overreaction. Cam's critique was grounded in facts. He outlined exactly what's wrong. Poor coaching, toxic veteran behavior, lack of offensive identity, mismanagement of young talent. This isn't slander. It's analysis. And he's not saying Shedeur can't thrive. He's saying he won't if something doesn't change. But here's the thing. Cam's demand isn't just a media headline. It's a warning. He's trying to do what no one did for quarterbacks who came before. Raise the alarm before the damage is done. Not after. He's asking the Browns to look inward and ask some hard questions. Like, why we keep failing quarterbacks? Why are veteran players allowed to fuel locker room instability without consequences? Why does the offensive identity change every week? Why does it always end with the quarterback taking the fall? Newton's solution? If Cleveland won't fix it, then Shedeur needs to leave before it's too late. And as harsh as that sounds, it's probably the most honest answer out there. Because at the end of the day, Shedeur Sanders doesn't owe Cleveland his career. He owes himself the best chance to become the quarterback he was drafted to be. And if this franchise continues down the path it's on, that chance may never... Cam's call wasn't about drama. It was about urgency. So now the clock's ticking. Will Cleveland step up, admit what's broken, and rebuild the right way around their young quarterback? Or will they do what they've always done? Look the other way until the story ends the same way it always does? We'll find out soon enough. Cam Newton didn't just stir the pot with his comments. He knocked the whole thing off the stove. Because when he said Shedeur Sanders should leave Cleveland, it wasn't just some overblown hot take for clicks. It was a calculated, emotional, and deeply frustrated warning shot from someone who's lived through what Shedeur's facing. Let's not sugarcoat anything. Shedeur isn't in a bad spot. He's in the spot quarterbacks go to die. Cleveland has become synonymous with dysfunction. It's a franchise that cycles through QBs the way most people cycle through socks. And here we are again. Except this time the guy at the center of it all is someone who's actually showing promise. Poise, control, leadership, and still nothing around him. The chaos sparked by Jeudy's locker room altercation was just a match. The fuel? Everything else. Veterans acting out. Coaching confusion. An offense with no identity. And a rookie quarterback being forced to not only keep his own head above water, but somehow drag the team with him. Cam's demand that Shedeur get out wasn't personal. It was protective. You could hear it in his voice. He wasn't angry at Sanders. He was angry for him. Because Shedeur's already doing more than he should be asked to do. And Newton knows how this story ends if someone doesn't step in. It ends the same way it always does in Cleveland, with the quarterback getting blamed. Let's look at where the real criticism is landing right now. Not on Stefanski, whose offensive schemes have been called everything from outdated to incoherent. Not on the veterans like Jeudy, who are supposed to be guiding the locker room, but instead are stirring up distractions. Not on the front office, who built this unstable roster and refuses to acknowledge the growing dysfunction. Nope. The moment something goes wrong, all eyes go to Shedeur. Cam's trying to shift that lens. He's not going to sit back and let a rookie quarterback become the scapegoat for a franchise that's been spinning its wheels for over a decade. And the reason his voice matters here is because he gets it. Cam's been a guy with all the pressure and none of the protection. He knows what it's like to be treated like a savior before anyone hands you the tools to build anything. He's seen what happens when teams expect rookies to carry broken systems. He knows what that does to a young quarterback's confidence, and how quickly a franchise will flip on the very player it failed to support. And Shedeur, he's checking every box. He's not panicking. He's protecting the football. He's showing maturity in press conferences and leadership in huddles. He's not pointing fingers. He's showing up week after week and doing his job as best he can with the situation he's been dropped into. That's exactly the kind of rookie performance teams are supposed to build around. But Cleveland? They're not building anything. They're unraveling. And Newton's not the only one who sees it. He's just the loudest voice saying it out loud. Because at some point, someone has to say what nobody in the Browns front office seems willing to admit. This is not a place where quarterbacks grow. This is a place where they get broken. Cam's demand for Shedeur to leave is rooted in that truth. It's not about quitting. It's about preservation. He's telling the league, the fans, and Sanders himself, don't let this place ruin you before the world sees what you're really capable of. Because it's not like Shedeur is the one unraveling. It's everything around him. Newton emphasized that how Sanders is the only part of this offense showing consistency, discipline, and mental toughness. That should matter. That should mean something. But instead, the chaos is threatening to bury it before it has a chance to. And then there's the coaching. Newton put Kevin Stefanski directly in the crosshairs. And honestly, how could he not? The play calling has been, at best, baffling. At worst, borderline sabotage. Stefanski's schemes are rigid. He's not adapting to the rookie. Under center. There's no rhythm, no balance, no clear identity. It's like a new offense gets installed every week. And when that offense flops, the fingers all point back to Cam's response. Enough. Shedeur is doing his job. Now it's time for everyone else to do theirs. And if they can't, or won't, then Newton believes Sanders has no reason to stay loyal to a franchise that clearly isn't ready to do what it takes to build around him. And let's not overlook how rare it is for a rookie quarterback to stay this composed in the middle of a full-on organizational implosion. Most guys would have started snapping in pressers. You'd see frustration, resentment, but not Shedeur. He's keeping it together. He's carrying himself like a 10-year vet, and Cam Newton knows how rare that is. That's why he's fighting for him. That's why he's saying what no one in Cleveland seems brave enough to say. You're wasting this. Veteran wideouts turning practice into a soap opera? Coaching decisions that make less sense every week? No consistency, no identity, no direction? That's not a quarterback problem. That's a team problem, a leadership problem, and it's one the Browns still haven't figured out how to solve. Cam's trying to stop the bleeding before it becomes irreversible. Because if things don't change and fast, Shedeur's trajectory won't be determined by his talent. It'll be determined by how long he can hold out against the tide of dysfunction surrounding him. And that's a tragic waste of potential. Newton's demand isn't dramatic. It's necessary. It's bold, sure, but it's also right. Because if this franchise isn't willing to change, it's time to stop asking Shedeur to shoulder the consequences. So where does this go from here? That depends entirely on Cleveland. They can ignore Newton's warning and keep running the same broken play over and over, hoping for a different result. Or they can wake up and realize they've got something special, if they're willing to protect it, invest in it, and build around it. Because Shedeur Sanders doesn't need to leave to succeed. But if the Browns keep letting chaos win, he just might have to. Let us know what you think. Did Cam Newton go too far? Or did he finally say what needed to be said? Is Shedeur better off riding it out in Cleveland? Or should he look for a new start somewhere that values growth over drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you're tired of watching talented players get dragged down by dysfunction, and subscribe. We got eyes on every play, every headline, and every meltdown still come.